It's that time of year. Bookies are starting to go non-run and no bet. Christmas is over and Cheltenham is just around the corner. You will know there is an abundance of Cheltenham Festival previews. None come out sooner than this. They've been pretty popular in the last couple of seasons, but I say it every single year, this is the perfect time to take a stamp in your calendar of what's happened in the first half of the season. Take notes of what you think should happen in each of the races, and then you can use this again when it comes to March just to reevaluate where the bet should be going. So we will be covering most of the big races, Supreme, Arkle, etc., etc. I'm really pleased to say that I'm joined by Jamie again this year. Jamie, thank you for coming back on. We've got Paul Beck as well. We've got Spectre. You thought when we got him in for the early Cheltenham meeting, that was all we were going to get, but he's been kind enough to fly over to Ireland, watch some Christmas racing so he can report on this video exclusively for us. But enough of the waffle. We'll try and keep each of these episodes as loose as possible. And I'll only say this once. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel, like the videos, comments below. But let's crack on with the Supreme, gentlemen. I've got the Betfair Exchange up and I've got Odds Checker up on the screen just because an extra visual for the people out there. It's probably not, I don't want to say a vintage Supreme at this moment, but it doesn't seem like historically when you get to this time of year, there's normally one or two, one on the Irish side and one on the British side that you could be fairly confident is the right horse. Jericho de Repene leads the market, given an official rating of 132. That's a bit short of what it would normally take to win a Supreme, but maybe hasn't even been asked yet. And obviously the Irish side of it, the best priced Irish horse, or the shortest one, hasn't even been out yet. So Paul, I'm going to come straight to you. We won't not waste any time. How do you see the Supreme? If you got stuck into any before, is there anything at this moment in time you think is worth a bet? And then is there any clues you think we're going to pick up in the next few weeks maybe that will help us even further?
Well, I think from what we've seen so far, the market's largely got it right. There's a few in there that won't run. But when you start to establish those ones that you think, well, I don't think the market's too far from being wrong. I think you can make a case for Jericho de Repene being too short. I think in seasons gone by, he would have gone to the what's the big hurdle at
Betfair Hurdle.
The Betfair Hurdle, but because of the new rules needing the number of hurdle runs, he's not going to go there. He can't get there, so he's not going to go the typical route that Henderson would go with him. He'll stick to Novice Hurdle Company. 132 feels a bit low. But the way he's run those two races, you just get the feeling there's plenty under the bonnet, really. You know, he can only go and win the races he can win. He can only go and beat the opposition he can beat. And when you look at the UK opposition, there isn't a whole lot there. So he's hardly going to put up big ratings, I don't think. You know, he's not going to go and win by half the track. He's not Constitution Hill. He's definitely the best of the bunch from the UK. What is there in Ireland? It's a bit of a dream to share, still not been out. If we don't see him out by the end of January, you're probably writing him off, I think. Although the talk is that he is going to be back. But you just can't get stuck into him until he is. Then you've got Gordon with a couple that, obviously you've got Caldwell Potter that ran really well over Christmas. I just wonder whether that big improvement has come with the ground, though. Whether he wants that soft, heavy ground. You know, he'll come to this race if we get that kind of ground first day of the festival. But you think if it's typical festival ground, he's more likely to go to the Ballymore. That said, you know, Elliott isn't averse to running a couple in the race, is he? Farron Glory ran and fell at Aintree when it looked like he was going to win. He looks more of a Supreme type, actually, of the two. I suspect Caldwell Potter's the better longer-term prospect, but I think Farron Glory just looks a bit sharper. So you wouldn't count him out. You know, Raw Bond winners have a really good record in the race anyway. It's, for me, has put up the best rating this season, but the vibes aren't great there, are they? You know, he wasn't out at Christmas. That would be a concern. We'll find out whether he's got an entry in the Moscow Flyer in the next few days. If he isn't, you'd be really concerned. Last chance to lose, really, the Dublin Racing Festival. But there's clearly something going on with him. We don't know for sure, but it's very unwilly-like not to have him out over Christmas. So there's got to be a big question mark around him at the moment. So if the horse is at the top of the market, Jericho is probably the right favourite, I think. Dream to Share would be if he'd been out. I'd probably pick one out at a big price, and that's the one that finished second to Jericho Repone at Newbury, and that's Secret Squirrel. I thought he wasn't given the best ride. I thought he was given a lot to do. He's been prominent in the past. He was held up this time. And he was running on the line. He was actually closing on the line. He's 100 to 1. You know, if he finished within 3 lengths of Jericho to Repone at the festival, and that's the best one, then 100 to 1's a bit of a stupid price. So, you know, if I was recommending a bet right now, I'd probably recommend 100 to 1 shot.
Nice. I quite like that. This is a good race, obviously, to get excited about. Typically gets the most views because it's the start of the festival. Same as the trainers, jockeys, owners want to get off to a big winner. We want to do exactly the same too, right? We often find this time of year when we talk about it, Jamie, that you can wait till the day there are promotional offers. And especially with these, like, I guess, like vibes that are going about, normally you would know what Willie's first string is at this point, or at least we better have a bit of a confident boost towards it. But at the moment, we don't really know where that is. Paul's touched on it for me there. I put this up as a bet in my column this weekend as an anti-post bet. As soon as they went non-runner money back with William Hill, I've bet him because obviously if there is something amiss with him, he's gone. If he gets an entry on Tuesday, I think the 10s goes about him. So again, it depends when this video goes out and when people watch it. My idea of a bet at the moment would be him, but we don't even know if he's actually going to be out or not anymore. There's weirdness on the exchanges. So we'll assume that maybe he runs, maybe he doesn't. It's a typical anti-posty market in it. But JB, was there anything you'd want to bet at the moment, or have you bet something before? Got a strong opinion on one? Because you do quite well in the Supreme, to be fair to
you. Jericho to open anyway, we'll be touching at that price anyway. To be honest with you, don't know what's under the bonnet yet. Look, he's seriously impressive, and obviously I saw a clip of him on the gallops in Newbury before he even ran. I did back him for a small bet for 25 to 1 to win this race already for a tenner on potential. I did the same, but it's for me. I have €10 on him at 33 to 1 to win. A dream to share. I suppose the way I look at the dream to share is that he's a flatbred horse, and technically, bumper's not too bad now, is it? Captain T is a grade 1 winner. Back to 5 looks like he's a decent machine who I think potentially would have won a Gold Cup one day. Shut down area. Caldwell Potter, I think if it turned up heavy, he'd definitely have a chance. But it's Remy beat him, and it's Remy was totally keen that day. It was a Punchestown that day, and still beat him. So I'm like that grade 1 at Christmas. It really bucketed down rain, and I think he just liked the ground. The second clouded the last Predator's goal. I wouldn't give up on him. There's something about the horse I like him. Down memory line was absolutely didn't like the ground. Same with Daddy Longlegs, needs good ground. Probably see him to better light in a fast run Cheltenham race. Firefox won't run here. He'll run into Ballymore. Now technically on all known form, Farm Glory should be favourite because he would have won that race in entry. I don't care what anyone says. I know it's a long way out where he fell, but he was there. He was going away. You could see he was going to it. It was like another Shishkin going into King George. He was gone, and he should be technically he should be favourite in my book. The other ones there are Mirror West. I suppose was very, very disappointing. But I see Patrick Mullins saying he's a bit like his brother. But we're always on about the sibling thing, Dave, aren't we? That he was too keen in the race. Obviously, he wasn't. He was lit up by a horse. And like King of Kingsfield, is he going to be a supreme winner? Not for me. But the way he turned into the straight, a fast pace like King of Kingsfield, and it was good ground that day at Leopardstown. You wouldn't count him out, no, would you? The way he ran away. I suppose no flies in him. Yeah, see a lot of people putting him up. The time wasn't bad at Leopardstown Day, but my thing was that to me, from my naked eye, that he beat a horse with DB Cooper, and DB Cooper of Gardner, he looks like a boat, right? And he looks like 3 Mile Chaser, doesn't he? And No Flies on Me looks like, to me, he was stopping at the line instead of going away, and I don't like that. Another horse that I like, one at Nace that beat Kingsfield, would he go here or the Ballymore Estate Steel? He did a good time at Nace that day up a hill, and I like that. But will he seats up in the air where he's going to go to? I see Toddy Hill's dropping to 2 miles on Sunday at Nace. Is he another Champagne Fever? Who knows? Do you know what I mean? There's another horse as well that it's in my head that absolutely stuffed Croke Park in a bumper for Willie Mullins, and he hasn't been seen since a bumper in Galway, and it's a horse called You Ought to Know. I'd be very interested in him if we see him before the Cheltenham Festival. He's a bit of a forgotten horse for me. But if I was putting up a bet at the moment, Mr. Cranky Ruby Walsh, the two poor boys were traumatized after him after the Lydia Hislop wrote the Cheltenham thing. Couldn't deal with the ideal pressure from Ruby. Sorry, boys. But anyway, Ballyburn, if he runs here, nothing will beat him. And it's the same in the Ballymore. Wherever he runs, there's nothing going to be. I told you about this horse last year in Punchestown. I said it was the bet of the year. I Punchestown last year in the bumper. The first day against Firefox, they rode him to see if they could settle him. Now the next time they're after settling him, and he ran away. He just reminds me of Duvan and Voiture, and I've told you from ages ago, months ago. I think they'll change tactic in the Supreme because it's not a great race. And I can see Townend, but if he's not a Ruby Walsh, that's the problem. I can see Townend go up front, catch me if you can, and no horse will catch him. And if he runs here, he will.
Yeah, fair enough. I think it's important to remember that as well, right? At the moment, there is a lot of uncertainty, like I say, about what potentially the top Irish horse is. We know that the British bar, Jericho de Repene, right? He hasn't been unleashed yet. He could be an absolute monster. If he's able to go that slowly with the horses he's run against, no offense to them, but they're not very good, then he actually is an absolute weapon. Because a horse like a Constitution, I know he's a very different type, but most horses can't physically go that slow. There is a slight concern. He's definitely better than 132. The handicapper's given him the mark based on what he has to, fully well known that he's not going to go in a handicap. If he was in a handicap of 132, you'd have your absolute bollocks on him, wouldn't you? But we're not talking about that. We're talking about this. Jamie touched on, I think a few people would have probably got Jericho de Repene in the book before. So apologies if you're watching it now and it sounds like after timing, but you probably missed the boat a little bit on there. He's not going to be going off much shorter than he is now, even if the race does cut up. And as Jamie touched on, the likes of a Ballyburn could come here. You go through the list of Ballymore winners, right? Like Forheen, he could have won a Supreme. Sam Crow could have won a Supreme. Bob Ollinger probably would have won a Supreme. Most people that are either Ballymore or Supreme bound, Willie splits them up just because he's got so many darts at it. Whereas in this instance, he might have a few extra darts that might have originally been Ballymore horses that could come back. So probably sit and wait in it unless you want to get stuck into Secret Squirrel. But it's definitely a juicy race. There'll be loads of promotions. There'll be loads of extended places up for grabs. Obviously, it's very desperate to get the winner of the first race at Cheltenham, but I think there are much better opportunities for betting coming up, and we'll cover them for the rest of day one. So, gentlemen, we'll wrap up there on the Supreme unless anyone's got anything to add.
Nope.
Yeah, boom. Right, let's go.